What is up, guys? Welcome to another video, and today we are here to talk about Need for Speed 2019, but more specifically, if off-roading has its place in Need for Speed. So earlier today, I ran a poll on my community tab. I've been using my community tab a lot more recently, so if you don't really check it out a lot, you know, there's a few things in there you might see. But essentially, I ran a poll asking you guys if you think it has any place in any future Need for Speed games. And this is what the poll turned out like, at least when I'm recording this. Obviously, it might look a bit different if you look a bit later. But you can see the overwhelming majority of people don't want off-roading in a Need for Speed game based off you, basically. You'd be my subscribers. If you go in the comment section, there's like maybe one or two yes comments, but none of them really explain why they would like off-roading in the game. As well, there's a lot of no comments, like a lot of no comments with reasoning. And it's kind of in line of what I've been saying all this time. I've been saying ever since Payback was announced, when we got the teaser picture with the R34, I can't remember which video it was, but in one of the videos I was like, if this means they're doing off-roading, I'm a bit scared. Then we found out they were doing off-roading, and I was like, yeah, they're doing off-roading. And then the off-roading was shit, and like, I said like, yeah, the off-roading was shit. And everyone seemed to like it at the time. It was really weird. Like, I felt like I was the only one that felt that I've had that opinion. But obviously things have changed since then. People have played more of the game, and maybe people have kind of realised like what I was kind of saying back then. But like, yeah, I've been saying this for a while. I don't think off-roading has a place in a Need for Speed game, period. Street racing. Emphasis on the street, not the off the road. Off-road and street aren't the same thing. This is more of a discussion video than anything else, as you can see from the fact I've brought the poll in. I'm going to link that same poll down in the description so you guys can keep on voting, and we can see like kind of a bit more of an accurate representation, you know, obviously with more people. But for me, it's always been one of those things with off-roading. It doesn't have its place in Need for Speed. Keep that to Forza. You know, there's sometimes there's not anything wrong with like having barriers. Games nowadays really aim to be like open and like have this world which is bigger than the last, it's more open than the last, and that kind of stuff. But like, I just don't really like get the need for it. Sometimes bigger maps aren't always needed. People who are moaning about the upcoming Forza game having the same size map as Horizon 3, I don't really understand, because Horizon 3's map was the perfect size. It was big enough to where you'd know all the basic landmarks, but it wasn't too small to the point where you feel like you'd be driving in the same place over and over again. The map in that game, the problem with that map was it just all kind of felt a bit bland, a bit boring, but the actual size and stuff was perfect. I am one person that I think if you lock off some areas and make it so you can't drive literally everywhere, there's not a problem with that in a Need for Speed game, because it's street racing. The last Need for Speed game just felt like it was desert, like a lot of desert. There was a little city area, but for the most part it was just desert. If in the next Need for Speed game they decide to go with more off-roading, then like they have a problem with already making the cities feel alive. At 2015, I felt, even though it didn't really feel particularly alive, it fit the theme of the game. You know, it was nighttime illegal street racing, so it kind of fit the tone of the game. As where in Payback, it literally feels like I'm in a ghost town. It's really, really interesting to hear people's opinions now, because like I said, I remember when the game launched, I was saying the off-road physics are just really bad, and I remember saying like, you know, it just doesn't have a place in Need for Speed. And everyone was against me. Like, everyone was like, no, you're wrong, it is really good. Fast forward to now, and it's just like, everyone's finally seeing from my perspective, and it's really nice for people to actually be seeing from my perspective. Like, I get it, but like, it has to make sense within the theme. And in the theme of being an illegal street racer, I do not know any illegal off-road street racing events ever. I've never heard of that. Not even in a film, not in... like, no, I've never heard, that's not a thing. As where street racing, like actual, like, I've heard of that, I've seen that, like, in real life, like, street racing is a thing in real life. It's like one of those things, it's just, you need to adapt it. I don't know how you adapt off-roading. Leave it to Forza. That is one thing I think Need for Speed has lacked very, very recently, especially with, like, just what it's been trying to do with Payback. Is like, it just feels like they're trying to be Forza, they're trying to be the Crew 2, and then still be Need for Speed, but you can't do that. It's just too many different things. I personally think Need for Speed needs to stick to illegal racing only in illegal cars, you know, like the whole, like, that whole, like, aesthetic and that whole, like, theme is something which they're still yet to nail. Need for Speed 2015 got very, very close with that, but, you know, obviously since then, it's been a while since then, you know, 3 years since Need for Speed 2015 came out. You know, we haven't got anything since like that. And it's just one of those things, I think, with the next Need for Speed game, they need to polish up the driving, the on-road driving. They haven't nailed the on-road driving yet, so if they even think about continuing off-road and polishing those physics as well on top of all the work they already have to do, that's ridiculously ambitious, and I just don't think at the moment Ghost can handle all that. The only reason why I say this is because Ghost have now released 3 games, so Need for Speed Rivals, Need for Speed 2015, Need for Speed Payback. Need for Speed Rivals, we all know, was a buggy mess. I don't think I need to explain much of that. You kind of already know that. 2015, again, physics, weird. There was no multiplayer until Speedless, and then Speedless was still a bit weird. Car balancing was fucked. There's a lot of problems in 2015, which I could talk about, which I haven't for a while, but I'm not gonna. Payback, again, no free roam online on launch. That's one major thing. No 399 cars on launch. Then we've got the loot boxes. Then we've got the car balancing still being messed up, and some of the cars from 2015 still being OP in Payback, like not being balanced at all. The broken off-road physics. You can see every game that Ghost has made has its inconsistencies, and I'm not saying that other developers don't have their inconsistencies, but if I go over to a series like Forza Horizon, there's not really an awful lot I can moan about in those games, really. Maybe the DLC for all of them is a bit weird, but that's out of, you know, Turn 10's control and Playground's control. That's a Microsoft thing. So, like, it's just one of those things with Ghost and Need for Speed. They're in a very, very different situation to most other developers. And it's not like The Crew, where, you know, the original The Crew, where the game got better over time and, you know, it completely changed. 2015, it still has improper car balance. You know, the lobbies don't work for some cases. Like, speedless are just not populated. So, like, the multiplayer problem is still a thing. And if you go into Payback, again, like I said, the car balance is still a thing. The ranked speedless are still broken. Sometimes if you win an event, you'll still get deranked. They're in a very, very different position to those two people, because with Ivory Tower, even though The Crew 2 is currently dead, they are probably going to fix it over time like they did with the original. And with Playground, their games are flawless out of the bat, minus the anti-consumer practices, which it seems like they're kind of fading away from anyway. It's just a bit interesting. It's a topic which is quite interesting to me. I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on this. Off-roading, yes or no? I'll link the poll down in the description. Make sure to go ahead and vote. I'm interested to see what we think in a kind of a wider scale. At the moment, I think there's a 200 odd votes on that poll. It'll be interesting to see how many of you guys can go down there and vote and see kind of an accurate representation of what it is. And make sure to leave a comment on there as well, so, you know, I can read through them, and obviously I can go through them all. But that's all I have to talk about today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's one of those things with Need for Speed 2019, a year away. I'm going to be doing these videos, you know, not regularly or anything, but whenever I feel like talking about the next game, I'm just going to go ahead and put it here. Obviously, we've got Forza coming up, like, literally this month, which is crazy to think it's already this month, like, literally, like, 20 days. 3 days before that, we've got Gator Rush, so there's a lot of content, new stuff that we're going to be seeing on the channel, so make sure to go ahead, stay tuned, stay subscribed. I will see you guys in the next one. You guys have been awesome, stay safe, and peace.